What is up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast. Rolling on the off the cuff today without a script, kind of floating down the creek without a paddle, but it's all right. We'll get it rolling as Jimmy joins.
Hey, what's up?
Rolling. I said we're going down the creek without a paddle, Jimmy. No script. Didn't have time for it, so
We're winging it.
we're gonna make it work. I know.
We know. Do it live.
We know how to do it. It's fine. Anyways. Yeah. The PowerPoint's the most important thing, I think, anyways. Then we got that. So yeah, UFL week 2, man. It was a pretty solid one. I thought it was a lot better play than week 1. A lot less blowouts for sure. The Stallions, though, getting their first win of the season after losing the opener to DC last week. I don't know. I know week 1, the Friday night game, was a big blowout with Arlington and San Antonio. But this game was fantastic. It started out with a bang when we were on air. Alex Magoo gets hurt like the second play of the game. And Matt Corral comes in, plays okay, throws 2 picks, not great, but Mike Nolan and that Michigan defense has been solid since he's been the head coach. But played well enough to get the win here. And yeah, Michigan, though, on the other hand, Bryce Perkins, pretty solid week 1 against Memphis. Not so good in this game. The Birmingham defense really did a good job on him, containing his legs. 30 yards, average 10 yards per carry. But still, I think holding Bryce Perkins to just 30 yards is a pretty decent day. Danny Etling also played sparingly, was not very good. Did complete 3 of his 4 passes, but only 8 yards there. And how about Michigan? The first 3-point conversion of the season for everyone combined. So that was cool to see. Bryce Perkins ran it in. They got help, though, because they got a roughing the passer call on the touchdown. And so that moved the ball all the way to the 2-yard line because of how the UFL does their penalty system. They move the ball. They don't do the half the distance to the goal thing. They move the ball all the way up to I think it's the 1, actually. I think they move it all the way to the 1, or maybe it is the 2-yard line. But then from there in, if there's a penalty, they'll enforce half the distance and whatnot. But yeah, it's pretty cool. They move that all the way from the 10-yard line, which is where the 3-point conversion is, I think, to the 2. So Perkins got in there. Not a great rushing night for either team. Ricky Person led the game in rushing, or tied Nate McCrary from Michigan with 53 yards on the night. McCrary 3 less carries, so 0.7 of a yard better on the per carry there. Deion Kane had a big night, though. The Birmingham receiver there, 84 yards, cut all 4 of his targets, and big long touchdown from Matt Corral. Touchdown go to Marcus Sims from Michigan, the only touchdown they had on the night. Defensively, how about the night for Michigan corner DJ Miller Jr. in the loss? 1 tackle, but he had both interceptions off of Matt Corral, and he had 3 passes defense. So big night for him, even though they lost. And then Harrison Mavis won the game. When you look at the final score, the kicker made the difference, right? Harrison Mavis, new kicker for Birmingham this year, made all 3 of his kicks, hit a long of 36, so not very long kicks, but hit all 3 and ended up being the difference in the game. 9-point affair. Birmingham covered +1. I told everyone, take Birmingham as the dog, take the money line, don't deal with that +1 crap. They were going to win. They did. Under 38 as well hit. I think I hit that one also. I might have been wrong. I don't remember if I said that. I don't know. On Saturday, this was the game I attended. Unplanned. Was supposed to go to the Nationals game, but didn't work out that way, and we were in DC anyways. So I was like, well, do you want to spend more money and go to a football game instead? She said, yeah. So I was like, okay. So first spring football game I've ever attended. Excellent atmosphere there at Audi Field in DC. It's literally right across the street from Nationals Park, anyways. I was kind of surprised. It looks on TV like there's more people than there was. But nonetheless, electric atmosphere for sure. I fed the beer snake a couple times. I got 2. I got to feed the beer snake. Not me personally feeding the beer snake, but I did hand my cup to people to feed the beer snake. So I contributed. Did my civil service. But no, this was the best game of the weekend. I'm kind of biased because I was at it, but it was fantastic. I mean, it's low scoring affair. Good for me. I had the under, so that worked out in my favor. But also, it's just a great game. It was defensive battle, which I don't know, I love, and came down to the wire. Eventually, we thought we had it won, and then Memphis scored, and then Memphis was driving, I should say. Interesting decision though at the end of the game. Under 2 minutes to go. Ken Wisenhunt's first game as Memphis Showboats head coach since he left. He was on a leave of absence for week 1. First game as head coach. They had struggles all night on offense, by the way. Time play clock wise, they had to spend all 3 of their timeouts in the first quarter and in the first half. In the second half, it wasn't as bad. They kept all 3 of their timeouts. But that decision, I don't know if that was from Ken Wisenhunt's NFL experience or not, because I feel like that's something that you used to do in the NFL. He had 3 timeouts under 2 minutes, decides to kick the field goal to make it a 2-point game instead. I don't know. It was 4th and 13, I think. So it was more than likely you wouldn't be able to convert that. But at the same time, you're down 5, under 2 minutes. You don't know for sure if you're going to get the ball back. And then even if you make the field goal, then you have a decision to make. Do you want to kick it off, or do you want to go for the 4th and 12 alternative onside kick? That would have been another interesting decision to see Ken Wisenhunt make. But ultimately didn't matter. Devontae Maxwell, who had a hell of a game on the D-line, gets in there, blocks the field goal of Matt Coughlin, and then that's how DC won the game. They just ran the clock out after that. But, yeah, excellent game. I love the resiliency from Jordan Ta'amu. However, we saw some of the reasons why he hasn't been able to stick onto an NFL roster. He's gotten some workouts and some, training camp invites and everything, but he hasn't been able to stick. And it's because of some of the missed throws that he had in this game. There were some wide open guys, man, and he missed them. He had Chris Rowland on a deep shot, and he threw it the wrong way. He darted it when what he really needed to do was give it some air and put it over top. Because when he pushed it in on a line, the defender was able to break it up. Similar thing happened earlier in the game. Jaden Mickens dropped a long touchdown. I thought it was a decent throw from Ta'amu. Maybe a little bit too much of a lead out there, but definitely a ball Jaden Mickens as an NFL veteran should have caught. That would have been close to a touchdown. And then, Jordan Ta'amu, you see it is sub 50%. I mean, he missed a bunch of throws. So it was not very impressive accuracy-wise from Jordan Ta'amu. But again, I liked his resiliency. I loved Shannon Harris sticking to the run. I know it was difficult inside there, 3.4 yards per carry for Abram Smith, the leading rusher in the game. But I liked it. It was also very odd. First half, very run heavy for DC. Second half, it was like they were throwing it all over the field. I was like, what are we doing? Why are you switching your philosophy in the middle of the game? I didn't like, though, Coach Harris, some of the decision making he did. I talked about it with Ken Wisenhunt on the Memphis side. But there were times in the stands where we're like, bro, throw the challenge flag. Like you have only one, right? But you can challenge anything in the UFL. And this year they made it a new rule that if you challenge once and you get it right, you can get another one. You can keep getting challenges if you keep getting it right. So there were 2 times where I thought he should have challenged and he didn't. Ultimately didn't end up hurting, but great. Greg Williams has been fantastic, by the way. This DC defense is nasty, and they have held back-to-back opponents under 13 points or under 12 points. Yeah, under 13 points, I should say. 12 this week, 11 last week to Birmingham. And this DC defense is nasty. But we knew that. We knew they were going to be good on defense. It's just, can they be better on offense? And they really haven't been through 2 games. They've been winning, but not very pretty. Jonathan Adams has been a stud. He is leading the UFL in receiving by a wide margin. 10 targets, caught 9 for 128, including a ridiculous catch on the sideline that I thought was out of bounds, but that's just me. And mostly everyone else in the stadium thought it was out of bounds as well when we looked at the replay, but they reversed it and called it inbounds. Great creativity on the 2-point conversions, or the 1 2-point conversion for DC, handing the ball off to Chris Rowland on a jet sweep, and then he threw it to Cornell Powell, I think was the guy that he threw the ball to in the end zone. So great creativity on the point after attempt there. Ben Bresnahan catching the lone touchdown for Jordan Ta'amu there. Defensively, like I said, my defense player of the game is Devontae Maxwell. He had a hell of a game on D-line, 3 tackles, solo, tackle for loss, and a block. Field goal. Memphis plus 6.5 covered. I got him at earlier in the week at plus 8. So I kind of knew it was going to be a close game. I thought Coach Wisenhunt coming in would give them a boost, and it kind of did. They just not offensively as much as they could have. Forgot to mention EJ Perry there. He played the whole game. It was not like week 1 where Troy Williams played as well. It was all EJ Perry. 64.3% there, 194 a pick, 4 carries, 26 yards, and a rushing touchdown. On Sunday, another doubleheader. Renegades get to 2-0. This was the grossest game. Like, it was so gross, dude. I mean, I had the over in this game. Like, I thought this was going to be some points because Renegades had scored last week. Last week they scored 33 on San Antonio. And while Houston only scored 6 against St. Louis last week, they gave up 31. So I thought that it was going to be kind of a similar game to last week for both teams. I thought Arlington was going to be able to score kind of at will, and Houston was going to improve just a little bit and maybe score more than 6 points. They did score more than 6 points. This is true. But this is the worst team in the UFL for sure. They have the worst head coach in CJ Johnson, who is horrendous at game management situations. They have the worst quarterback in the NFL. Yes, I'm putting Kellen Mond over Anthony Brown, Jimmy. It's close, but I would put Kellen Mond over Anthony Brown. And it's just there's no direction for this team. So, and we'll talk about the trade that went down today in the UFL involving Houston. But yeah, it's just, this team makes no sense. They have decent players. You can see there Emmanuel Butler, Kiki Chisholm. Wide receivers are pretty solid. Leon O'Neal at safety there. But it's just they don't have enough talent for sure. And I think Nolan Henderson should be the guy in week 3. I think he showed some promise last year for Houston, and he hasn't really gotten a chance this year through 2 games. He's played a little bit, but not enough, I think. I think the offense will look much better with Nolan Henderson. I think he's more poised than Anthony Brown and a much polished passer than Anthony Brown is as well. So and Henderson can run too. I think people forget that Nolan Henderson is pretty speedy. So I would give Nolan Henderson the start if I'm CJ Johnson this week. Luis Perez, though, man, he continues the ball out, 70.4%, 211 touchdown, a 2-point conversion as well. I mentioned Anthony Brown, 46.7%, 179 touchdown, a pick, 3 carries, 20 yards. Nolan Henderson, like I said, played a little bit, didn't complete a pass over 3. Day Hunter had a good day on the ground for Arlington. They ran the ball pretty effectively, 14 carries, 63 yards, 22 yards on his 2 catches there. Pretty good game for Isaiah Winstead on the Arlington side. 9 targets, caught 7 for 73. Touchdowns going to Deontay Burnett, who also caught the 2-pointer from Luis Perez. That ended up being the game-winning play because Houston scored late and was not able to get the game-tying 2-point conversion. Nano Butler catching the lone touchdown from Anthony Brown there. Defensively, it was a good day for Arlington defensively. I'm going to go with defensive end Willie Taylor the third, 3 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, a pass defense. Houston plus 11.5 covered, under 39.5 quite easily, 20 points. And the final game of the week, this was a blowout. Battlehawks getting revenge over the Brahmas from the XFL Conference Championship game this past year, where San Antonio beat St. Louis 26-9, drubbing of the Brahmas here. And yeah, so I kind of mentioned Kellen Mond earlier. This San Antonio team, man, offensively, it's not there. I mean, 9 points this week. If the Fox Sports app would like to load, I can remind you on what they scored last week. I think it was 9 as well, though, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So back-to-back weeks of 9 points. They're averaging 9 points per game as an offense right now. It's not going to win you many ball games. The issue is they don't have an alternative, man. I mean, when you look at this roster or San Antonio, who are you going to go to? You're going to go to Kevin Hogan, who has played regular season snaps in the NFL, and he started a game, I believe, for the Browns, right? But never really played a ton. Jarek Garantano, I don't know why he's not starting. I don't know if he's hurt or what. He is their best, most experienced quarterback in terms of actually games played. And then they have a guy that was undrafted last year out of Northwest Missouri State, who I'd never heard of, Mike Hohensee Jr. There, who they just signed before last week 1 game. So yeah, I don't know where they go. I mean, again, Jared Garantano would be the guy I would go with if he's healthy. Apparently he's not. I don't know. But if they're going to play Kellen Mond for 10 games this year, they're going to go 0-10 the way it's going right now. So on the opposite side, St. Louis is a freaking juggernaut right now, man. Manny Wilkins balling out right now. And he looks poised. I think Manny Wilkins right now is putting himself up there to compete with Luis Perez for the best quarterback in the league. The way he's played the first 2 games. 75% here for Wilkins, 162, 9 carries, 58 yards. Excellent player. Command is there. The leadership, everything that you want, Manny Wilkins has demonstrated so far through 2 games as the new starter this season. Mentioned Kellen Mond, 48.1%, 129 a pick, 3 carries, 19 yards. Anthony McFarland led the game in rushing, or outside of Wilkins. Pretty good game. 6 carries, 55 yards, catch for -2 yards. That's kind of the status quo for McFarland, though. He's an explosive runner, gives you big, long rips on some of his carries there. This game was the Jacob Sailors game, though, for sure. 11 carries, 46 yards, just over 4 yards per carry, but 3 rushing touchdowns on the night. Caught 3 for 25 yards, and he had a 2-point conversion as well. So Sailors by himself scored 20 of the 26 points for Lewis. That's pretty good. And I cashed on Jacob Saylor's first touchdown, so that was nice. I'm pissed that I did not go in on what I had in my mind, because in my mind, Jimmy, I'm swearing to God for you right now, I had that Saylor's 2+ touchdowns was an interesting bet in my mind, and I just didn't go in on it. I should have. Jayshon Corbin scoring a touchdown for San. Their only score touchdown of the game. Jacob Harris, though, had a good game. Leading the game in receiving, 3 for 69 on 8 targets. Horrendous catch ratio, though, 3 out of 8. And defensively, I'm going with St. Louis corner Brandon Sebastian, 4 tackles, 3 solos, pick, and 2 passes defense. St. Louis covered -9, under 40. Yeah, no breaking news, right? I don't think so. Except that Eric Carlson just scored his 200th goal, and the Penguins are winning 2-0 over the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, y'all already beat us on Sunday,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, you're ruining your own tank. What are you doing? When?
Are we still mathematically alive?
No, I think you got eliminated. I think you got eliminated because you lost against the Blackhawks. I'm not even kidding. I think that
happened last year too. Didn't y'all beat us last year to eliminate us?
I think I was also in 23. I think I was 23.
Whatever.
Right before the Blackhawks drafted Bedard.
It still hurts, Jimmy.
Yeah.
We haven't been to the playoffs in a million years.
Oh, you're talking to a Blackhawks fan that hasn't seen them in the playoffs since 2017. And no, I don't count that extended playoff in 2020. No one does.
I don't want to talk about that one.
No. Ironically, the Blackhawks were in the same seeding as the Montreal Canadiens were, and they also won. So both
don't worry, don't talk about it. We don't need to talk about the Canadiens.
The Canadiens.
All right. Yeah, so let me get to what we got here. College football news. Stanford edge rusher David Bailey has made his choice. He is going to transfer to Texas Tech. So they are up to the number 3 transfer class now. And that's a hell of a get for Joey McGuire's squad down there in Lubbock. Bailey, excellent player there. All right, I think the rest of it is NFL news. So literally, I'm just going to go through, and it's going to be whatever the next picture is on my next screenshot is on my phone. So, Dolphins left tackle Teron Armstead officially retiring this weekend. 12 years in the NFL, drafted by the Saints. He was a first rounder, I believe. But yeah, congrats to Teron Armstead. And now it's an interesting situation. I think we kind of talked about it when we did the Dolphins mock draft. A third rounder, my bad. Third rounder, 75th overall in 2013 by the Saints. Played just with the Saints 13 to 21. Dolphins the last 3 seasons, 22 to 24. 1-time second team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. So doesn't have the resume to get to the Hall, but pretty solid player nonetheless. Great long career, 12 years. But yeah, now it's a situation in Miami. Do they roll with the second-year man, Patrick Paul, who they drafted in the second round? Or I forget who else they got.
They don't have much.
Well, you wanted the Dolphins to draft the lineman every pick, so.
I did because I hated last year's draft.
Yeah, they have Patrick Paul slotted in on our lads right now at left tackle. Austin Jackson, the 2020 first rounder, is at right tackle. They also signed Larry Borum from the Bears this offseason, and they have 23 seventh rounder Ryan Hayes out of Michigan as well. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure I was right on the Michigan thing. I thought I was, but I just double check that. Let's talk about visits. So it's visit season for NFL teams. Top 30 visits going on, and so yeah, we're going to tell you who's visiting who, pretty much. Starting off with Mason Graham, Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham, visiting with the Browns yesterday and the Raiders today. So definitely a top 5 pick. Speaking of the Raiders, they released corner Jack Jones, so veteran corner available. I was kind of surprised at that one. I thought he had been playing pretty well for Vegas since he got there. Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter. He's having a visit with the Giants on Thursday. Number 3 pick there. He also had he also had breakfast in State College with Brian Daboll. So, UCLA linebacker Carson Swessinger, he had a visit with the Ravens yesterday. So a potential interesting one, potentially to pair with Roquan Smith in the middle of that Baltimore defense. William and Mary offensive tackle Charles Grant visited with the Titans yesterday. He also has the Ravens, Eagles, Bengals coming up, and he was with the Texans last week as well. Louisville safety Quincy Riley visited the Panthers yesterday, and he's going to visit the Saints, or he visited the Saints as well last week. Florida State defense tackle Josh Farmer visited the Steelers yesterday. He was at the Giants today, and he's going to the Patriots tomorrow. East Carolina corner Siobhan Revel. He has visits scheduled with the Bills, Colts, and Vikings this week. There you go. Vikes on the board.
I like that.
Alabama A&M Carson Vinson. He has a visit scheduled with the Ravens this week. One of the top FCS prospects there. Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M DN Shamar Stewart was with the Panthers on Sunday. Raiders hosting Boise State running back Ashton Genty and Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers yesterday, or this week, I should say. So, yeah, they flew in today. So it's an interesting one. Quinn Ewers to the Raiders in the second round. Maybe. Ohio State wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. He visited with the Packers today. And he also was with the Cowboys over the weekend. The Jags, they have exercised defensive end Trayvon Walker's 5th-year option. Kind of no surprise there. Back to visits. Ole Miss defense tackle Walter Nolan. He visited with the Bengals yesterday. He's also visited with the Cowboys and the Panthers, and he has scheduled visits coming up with the Cardinals and the 49ers. Miami tight end Elijah Arroyo visited the Texans yesterday, the Browns today, and he's going to the Giants tomorrow. South Carolina defense tackle TJ Sanders. He was with the Texans yesterday and the Cardinals today. He also has visited the Falcons, Titans, Eagles, and Packers. Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons. He was with the Packers yesterday and the Ravens today. The Titans, they hosted Ohio State offensive lineman Donovan Jackson and Notre Dame safety Xavier Watts yesterday. I know Donovan Jackson is a favorite pick for a lot of people for the Titans' second round pick at the top of the second round there. Switching to UFL news real quick. Big time loss for the Michigan Panthers. Defensive end Breland Speaks has been placed on IR. So big loss for them. And I forgot to mention that the trade that I foreshadowed earlier. We had a trade that went down yesterday. The Houston Roughnecks sending offensive tackle Cam Carter to the Michigan Panthers for wide receiver Marcus Sims. Is a very odd trade. And like a lot of people are saying about it, it's like, bro, like Anthony Brown can't get him the ball anyways. So what is the point of having a stud receiver like Marcus Sims? I agree. It doesn't make sense to me for either side, really. But they did it anyways. So, yeah. And big signing as well. Birmingham signed former Brahmas edge rusher Delonte Scott. So big signing for the Birmingham front seven. They're pretty productive player for San Antonio previously. Back to visits there. Ohio State running back Quinshon Judkins visited the Texans yesterday. He's with the Bengals tomorrow, and he is with the Broncos later this week. Tennessee edge rusher James Pierce Jr. Was with the Cardinals yesterday. He is also going to visit the Colts and the Bengals this week, and he was with the Cowboys and the Falcons last week. Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden. He was with the Bucks today. Washington State wide receiver Kyle Williams visited with the Titans today. A lot of connections there. Played with Cam Ward at Washington State, and also was at UNLV when Tennessee's offensive coordinator Nick Holes was the OC there. So a couple connections. If Cam Ward potentially goes to Tennessee, maybe Kyle Williams comes with him. Michigan corner Will Johnson. He's going to have a workout in Ann Arbor, and he's with the Raiders. He's going to have a workout on Monday because he was out, didn't do anything combine-wise and whatnot. He's going to have a workout on Monday, but he's going to the Raiders next Tuesday as well. Georgia linebacker Jalen Walker, he visited with the Browns today. We're going to see another Georgia boy creep up to the top of the board like Trayvon Walker did with the Jags. Another Georgia player, edge rusher Michael Williams, doing the NFC West tour. He was with the 49ers yesterday, the Seahawks today, and he's going to the Cardinals tomorrow. He's also visited with the Patriots, Cowboys, Jets, Bucks, and Saints. The Steelers on Thursday, they are bringing in Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders for a visit. So that would be something to watch.
Wishful thinking.
I don't want him. It's fine with me. I'm okay with going to 26. Kentucky corner Maxwell Hairston visit with the Lions today. He's with the Raiders tomorrow. UCLA linebacker Carson Swessinger added the Panthers today. Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond was with the Browns today. Notre Dame wide receiver Bo Collins visiting the Bears today. And that is all the I think that is all the stuff I have. Oh, Ole Miss Quarterback Jackson Dart visited the Browns today. So there you go. Maybe they don't take a quarterback. And he's going to the Raiders next. So Jackson Dart making his rounds. Free agent pass rusher DeMarcus Walker with the Bears last year. He's visiting the Giants tomorrow. And I think that's all I got. Yeah. Yep. All right, let's get to the mock draft. We got speaking of the Bears, Saints Bears today. We are into the top 10. Okay, needed to make sure I had the screenshots of our last mock, Cowboys and 49ers. So let's get to the Bears and the Saints. Two teams that have more picks than most people. They each have 4 in the first 3 rounds. 9, 41, 71, 93 for New Orleans. 10, 39, 41, 72 for the Bears. Saints getting the 3rd rounder, number 93 from Washington, and the Marshawn Lattimore trade. And the Bears getting the last pick of the Bryce Young trade, number 39 overall in the 2nd.
How do they both have 41? Is that a typo?
Potentially.
Yeah.
40. It's 40 for the Saints.
Okay.
Yeah. What craziness are we getting up to today? Cam Ward, number 1. Not crazy. Mason Graham, number 2. There it is. Will Campbell to the Giants at 3. Patriots going Abdul Carter. Travis Hunter to the Jags. Raiders going Ashton Genty. Wow, Will Johnson. All right. Shador Sanders. Dang it. Tedero McMillan to the Panthers. We're on with the Saints. Chargers coming up. Broncos coming up. You know what, though? I would not be shocked if Ashton Genty passes the freaking Raiders if the Broncos are screaming up the board.
Mm-hmm.
Would not be shocked.
Yeah. Although I think the Bears would trade up to protect that because I think the Bears would take them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We control the Bears, but all right. New Orleans. What do I got here for New Orleans? Tackle is my number 1 need for the Saints. That is because of Trevor Penning's injury issues and ineffectiveness overall. So I think tackle is the number 1 need for me. They drafted Talise Fuaga in the 1st round last year. So that's why I have tackle number 1. Corner number 2. They just don't have bodies, man. I mean, Kool-Aid McKinstry's a good player going into year 2. Alontae Taylor's turned out well as a 2nd rounder. They're starting nickel, but they need another guy on the outside. They signed Isaac Yiadom from the 49ers, and he is currently the starter. But it's just the rest of the depth. There's just not much. So even if they move Alontae Taylor to the outside and put someone else in the slot, they just need another body. They need better talent at corner. Corner number 2, wide receiver number 3. I know they signed Brandon Cooks. Obviously, he's older. He's only on a 2-year deal. Chris Olave's having the concussion issues. They drafted Bub Means in the 5th round last year. But again, it's just they need depth. They don't have talent. And Rashid Shaheed's good, but it's just he's not an elite wide receiver. Maybe people differ. I don't know. Linebacker is the next one I got for New Orleans. Why? To be honest, not sure. Because Demario Davis is old. That's why. And they had DeMarco Jackson, 22 5th rounder. Jalen Ford, I forgot they have him. I like him from Texas. They drafted in the 5th round last year. But again, they need a guy for the future that they can see slotting in for the foreseeable future beside Pete Warner there. And then Edge is my last one for New Orleans. Again, it's an age thing. Cam Jordan, how long is he going to play? I don't know. They did re-sign Chase Young, and they drafted Isaiah Foskey. He's going into year 3. Hasn't been that productive, though, to be honest. And they just need depth as well. So Carl Granderson's not getting any younger either. So that's my needs for New Orleans. What say you, Jimmy?
I agree. I think almost think wide receiver would be more of a need than cornerback, although it is a skilled position. But I do think offensive line is a huge need. This team needs to build for the trenches. I don't think Carr is the long-term thing for them, but they're going to probably ride him out until his contract is over and then draft a guy to be the next franchise guy. So you're going to want an offensive line that's set up when that day comes. And the fact that Membu's all the way down here, I'm really shocked. Membu, I'm saying go for it right now. I know you mentioned linebacker, Walker's there, edge, Stewart's there, wide receiver, Golden's there, but and Mike Green, but I think Membu makes total sense. I think other guys, I think Cam Jordan's going to be effective until he retires, so you don't have to worry about him losing production. And Chase Young, he's a decent player. Plus the guy you mentioned in the 3rd round. I think they have okay depth at edge. I don't think it's too much of a need. Wide receiver, it's a luxury good. As much as I put it at 2, same thing. And also this draft is pretty deep at corner. I think they could get a pretty decent corner at 40, maybe Ben Morrison. So I'd go Membu here.
Yeah, obviously, if Shore Sanders is here, I'm taking him for sure. But obviously he's not. And definitely it would make it much harder if Wilt Johnson was on the board as well, but he's not. So I think, yeah, it's an easy pick with Armand Membu. He's usually not here in mock drafts. So
yeah, I've seen him go
hell
in
yeah.
top 5 often.
Yeah. So yeah, let's do it. What are we getting trade wise? That's not a bad play, man. We already have 2 second rounders. We can get a 3rd one.
But I know Bears fans. I know how they feel about Genty, and if Genty's here at 10, I don't think they hesitate to take him. I almost guarantee the other trade offer is probably from Denver.
No, it was the Chargers.
Oh, it was the Chargers.
22. So for the Bears, right, I have interior D-line as my number 1 need. Sure, Javon Dexter's been a pretty solid player going into year 3. They did sign Grady Jarrett, but 1-year deal, and he's old anyways. And they just don't have a lot of bona fide depth behind that. Chris Williams, Andrew Billings, Zach Pickens going into year 3 as a 3rd rounder. Jonathan Ford as well. So, yeah, I like interior D-line as the number 1 need. Running back is my 2nd need, though. Obviously, DeAndre Swift, pretty ineffective last year. Rashawn Johnson is kind of wild. He's going into year 3. So much hype in his rookie year. Played pretty well, and year 2 was not that good. So they did re-sign Travis Homer as the 3rd back as well. So I have running back number 2. I actually have 7 needs for the Bears. Wild. Corner and safety are my next 2. Corner, it's just the depth. I want more depth there. They got a couple guys going into year 3, and Tyreek Stevenson as a starter, Terrell Smith as a backup. Guys into year 4, Kyler Gordon at the nickel spot, Jaquan Brisker at the safety spot. Safety, though, I think is a need. Kevin Byard, obviously the age factor. Jonathan Owens, kind of the same thing. Jonathan Owens, more of a special teams player. Elijah Hicks going into year 4 as a 22 7th rounder is stuck around. So those 2 are more based off depth, I think. Wide receiver is kind of the same thing. For some reason, they didn't re-sign Keenan Allen. And they're rolling with Olamide Zaccheaus right now as the number 3. I wouldn't be shocked if Tyler Scott gets an opportunity. I mean, he's a 4th rounder going into year 3. Devin Duvernay is the return guy. Maurice Alexander hasn't made a roster, really. Same thing with Samori Torre. Miles Boykin's a great special teams player as well. But they need else to go with DJ Moore and Roma. Tackle, offensive tackle. Obviously, people talk about Braxton Jones way too much. Really, I don't think offensive tackle should be a need. Like, I don't know why people are throwing away Kieran Amagaji. He's going into year 2. Like, he's a 3rd round pick last year. I don't understand. Kind of the same thing with the Chiefs and Kingsley Suamataia. It's like, bro, he's a 2nd round pick last year. Like, give him a chance.
Yeah, I think it's no reaction from a really bad year. Like when he was on the field, he was horrendous. But let's be honest, Matt Eberflus did not develop anyone on that offensive side of the ball, especially that line. So I don't put it too much against them. I think offensive line depth is more of a need. I don't think they need a day one starter. Like maybe if a guy falls in the second, like I don't know, let's say Kelvin Banks or like Ray Zabel is available at 39, then maybe we're having that conversation. But no, I wouldn't take, like, if I'm in the situation, I wouldn't take Kelvin Banks Jr. over Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
I would almost take Matthew Golden over Kelvin Banks Jr. if that was the situation. But
yeah, my last need, Jimmy, for the Bears was interior O-line depth because they got those guys in free agency and trades, and they just need guys behind them. So, but yeah, I'm with you. You're the NFC North guy. I'm with you though. I'm with Ashton Genty because that is value pick and it fits my second need. Without the only one I would say, if it was a choice right here, would be Mason Graham over Ashton Genty. That would be the only choice because I have interior D line over running back. So,
yeah, and I don't think Harmon is worth taking here at 10. Now, Harmon could be a guy to trade up for. We can discuss that. Let's say we get to round 25 and he's still available. Maybe we can start thinking about it. But right now, I would not take him at 10. I would take Genty.
I agree with you too that if Genty was not on the board, I would take this trade.
Oh, yeah.
If Genty wasn't on the board, trade back 2 spots. You're moving up 28 selections.
Yeah, because then you'd have 38, 39, 41
and 44.
and 44. You could move 2 of those, go back into the late first, and still have a mid-second. I mean, that's really good asset management. But yeah, take Genty here.
New running back in Chicago. Jalen Walker to the 49ers. Kelvin Banks to the Cowboys. They listened to me. Wow. Tyler Warren to the Dolphins. That's interesting. Colston Loveland to the Colts. All right. Micah Williams to the Falcons. Shamar Stewart to the Cardinals. Oh, Howie Roseman. 32-64 and a second next year from Mike Green. That's ridiculous. Matt Golden to the Seahawks. Jahdae Barron for the Bucks. Jahad Campbell for the Broncos. Josh Simmons to the Steelers. That doesn't make sense. I don't like it. Derek Harmon, Bengals, coming back in 32-64. Chiefs coming up for Tyler Booker, 31-66. Nick Scorton to the Vikes. Walter Nolan coming up, 42-73, 110. Nicky Manwari to the
real quick.
Rams, because these trades,
you mentioned
dude.
the need for the Bears, and Malachi Starks being available at 29 is kind of insane.
Hold on. The Seahawks coming up for Grace Abel, 50-52, 137. Dude, what is this? We hit 20, and it's like, bro, these trades started flying.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
It's like the Eagles were like the primer, and then like they waited a couple, and there's like boom, 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 boom. Like, James Pierce to the Lions, by the way. Yeah.
I feel like Stark should not be available at this point. He makes perfect sense for the Bears.
Yeah. I mean, safety is my 4th need. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it for sure. Yeah. Think he would potentially start over Kevin Byard and pair well with Jaquan Brisker there.
Yeah, I think this would be a good trade up. I would almost think you could also, let's say, trade up to like 32 and then get Iarabuka Burden if they were still available. But I think if you can get Starks here with the Washington pick, that'd be pretty insane.
Coming off
Safe.
10. We don't have that. That's the funny thing with the Bears. They have all these top 100 picks, top 75 picks. They don't have a ton of picks, though, to be honest. So, do we just want to trade a future asset instead?
Yeah, let's do like a future third, and then
I think that should get it 10 spots.
yeah, we'll see.
Probably not, but I'm always wrong. Yeah.
No.
So
we'll probably up it to a second.
Yeah, let's make it 2 seconds.
I don't like to give a second round pick away.
Ooh.
Yeah, they don't want it.
All right. I would say if they don't take this next one, we'll probably just can the idea.
What do you want?
Let's do 39, 72, and a third next year, and then ask back for like let's say 128. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I take Starks.
Yeah. I already said my spiel about pairing him with Jaquan Brisker and whatnot. The need for depth at safety and Kevin Byard's age. Sure.
I like that pick.
Bills rolling Siobhan Revel. Damn it. I wanted it for the Saints. Packers going and Donovan Ezrawaku. Chargers. Emeka Egbuka. Jalen Milroe to the Browns. Jackson Dart to the Giants. There goes all the quarterbacks that I wanted for the Saints. Luther Burden, Tyleik Williams, Titans, Jags, Jaylen Noel for the Raiders, Trey Harris for the Patriots. Oh man, I want him, Jimmy.
Kenneth Grant.
I know. I'm so scared that he's not going to get there, though. We have one pick till we pick, so I want him for the Bears, but and the Saints. I don't have an interior D line need, so we got to risk it for the biscuit on Washington. Unfortunately,
yeah, I doubt they would double trade.
Yeah, we don't have any more picks.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh
Washington didn't even take it. It was the freaking 49ers.
The 49ers. What'd they give up?
43 and 138. Washington's loaded right now.
Yeah.
With picks. God, I'm so pissed, bro.
We're here with the Saints, and
all right. Saints. So we got our tackle. My next need is corner. So Ben Morrison makes sense to me.
I was just about to say I love Ben Morrison.
Yeah. We don't have wide receivers really here, so pissed. So pissed. Hell yeah, I'm doing that trade. 3 rounds next year? Jimmy,
let's not even hesitate. We'll just say yes.
Yeah. I don't care.
Trey Amos, we weren't going to take him.
We can recoup a 4th rounder and move 6 spots back from the Dolphins. All right. I'm not over it yet. Ashton Genty, we got Starks. So we got a 4th rounder from Houston next year. Interior D line's my number 1 need. God. All right. Well, there's no interior D lineman at the top of the board. I don't even know when the next one is. Corner is my next one. So actually, we would have taken Trey Amos, by the way. It sucks because we already tapped at a safety. Xavier Watts is here. Not really any corner. Azariah Thomas, I would not hate, to be honest. I really like the guy. There are not really any wide receivers. Jalen Royals is the next one. Maxwell Harrison is there as well at corner. And then I have tackle and interior O-line depth. We got guards, and we got a tackle. Do we really want to spend on those, though, this early? It's our last pick for a long time.
That's tough. I think this draft is honestly loaded with D linemen, even in the early fourth round. I like Donovan Jackson purely as a value pick here. I even like how I always mess up his name, Savinea, Savatinea. Yeah, I mean I like both those guys. I also do like Hairston. I think this guy is like an early second guy. I'm really surprised at how low he's rated. It's tough. Who is the best remaining defensive tackle right now? Can we see who's there?
TJ Sanders, back end of the second.
Back end of the second. I mean, he wouldn't be an awful pick even here. I mean, do we want to take a trade offer and just move back and then kind of wait for the value to equal out and then get back a fourth?
I'm okay with trading back because I'm not high in terms of need and what's on the board right now. I am perfectly fine if we're gonna stick here and taking Azariah Thomas. I like Azariah Thomas. I think he's a big, long corner. Obviously, Hairston's got the speed, fastest player at the combine, 4.28. But yeah, I mean, we can take the Dolphins offer. I don't care.
Was it the Dolphins? I mean, yeah, I think that's a good pickup because then you got another fourth, I believe that is.
Yeah,
I'd take it.
And they went Maxwell Hairston.
Of course they did.
And Azariah Thomas goes next. Nice. Quinshon Judkins, the Cowboys. Donovan Jackson, Lions coming up 61, 02, 130. Xavier Watts, the Falcons. Josh Connerly to the Cardinals.
It's like they know, man.
We're trading back more. We want to
take it.
We want a fifth rounder.
Why not?
I think that's a 5. It might be a 6 actually. Yeah, I think that's a
they're just loading up with depth at this point. Yeah, I told you we should have taken a corner. Yeah, I know. Still got Savinea.
I mean, why not trade back again?
Why not? I mean, I would take the Denver pickup and just see what happens here.
6th rounder. Caleb Johnson. Why didn't they take a Marion Hampton? Princely Uman Jaden Higgins, Ravens.
Another one. No.
Yeah. All right. We still don't have interior D line.
You could go TJ Sanders here.
Why?
I think it's the best D tackle remaining.
I don't even like him. If we're gonna go D line this far up from where they're ranked, which doesn't mean anything, but I prefer Darius Alexander. Much more of a penetrator, upside pass rusher. That would be my pick. If we're gonna go interior D line.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna argue that too much. I like Darius a lot. And I think even with these rankings, I think it doesn't really make a difference, especially at this point in the draft. If you're going D line, I'd go Darius.
Darian Porter's the only corner available too. So
yeah.
All right, let's go Darius Alexander. Picked up a couple late round picks. Ravens going to Marion Hampton. Carson Swessinger, that's ridiculous. To the Bucks, Mason Taylor, Chargers coming up 1 pick, 55, 158. Wyatt Millham to the Packers. Landon Jackson for the Bills. Jonas Savaiinea. Texans coming up 1 pick, 58, 166 to the Panthers. Jared Wilson to the Panthers. Oladejo to the Ravens. Travion Henderson for the Colts. JT Tuimoloau to the Commanders. Jalen Royals to the Bills. Emory Jones to the Chiefs. Marcus Bowe to the Jets. 145, a second, and a sixth next year. Isaiah Bond to the Giants. Elike Manor to the Packers. TJ Sanders, Chargers. 86, 125, 145 to the Browns. Ariante Ursary to the Raiders. Ozzie Trapilo to the Patriots. Harold Fannin to the Jags. We're on with the Saints. Vikings want to come up. That's a little too far for my blood. All right. Saints, I have enjoyed our draft so far. We've hit on my top 2 needs. Now we can go get a wide receiver. And look at that. There's one sitting right there. And Jack, Mr. Jump Ball himself, Besh. If not, then I say we go with Chris Paul Jr. And if not, then I say we go with Braden Swinson.
I'm with you on wide receiver, especially with another pick at 93. I think Besh is the best available at this point in the draft. I think his speed can be an asset. Yeah, I agree. I think with the other needs that we mentioned with the Saints, I think there's a ton of that will be absolutely available later in the draft at 93. So Besh it is to me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about it. I wasn't paying attention enough. We probably should have traded up, to be honest. The fact that Carson Schlesinger lasted to 53 hitting this one was ridiculous. I love Landon Jackson as well. And then even going to the wide receivers, I mean, Isaiah Bond I love Isaiah Bond as well. So probably should have traded up, but we'll stick and pick with Jack Besh, get a wide receiver here. Washington going Andrew Makuba. Texans going Shamar Turner. Panthers going Darian Porter. Tate Ratledge for the 49ers. Cowboys going Kevin Winston Jr. Denzel Burke for the Patriots. Chris Paul Jr. to the Cardinals. DJ Giddens for the Texans. Colts going Braden Swinson. Bengals Dylan Fairchild. Jordan Birch for the Seahawks. Steelers going Tyler Shuff. I love that. That's a great pick. Lathan Ransom to the Bucks. Terrence Ferguson for the Broncos. Browns going Cameron Williams. Packers going Dorian Strong. Barrett Carter for the Jags. Kyle Williams to the Texans. Ashton Gelati for the Rams. Alfred Collins to the Ravens. Ajani Cornelius for the Seahawks. 5 spots for a 5th, Miami, huh? So we have literally filled every single need so far for me because the board has fit well. It doesn't really now. Linebacker is my next need. I'm not the biggest fan of Demetrius Knight.
I'm a fan of the guy right above him.
Pass on that. Yeah, I like
Kyle Kennard a lot.
Yeah, you got Josiah Stewart up there as well.
We mentioned edge earlier. I think this is a good point to take it because this is where you can take guys that can develop and be rotational guys for another 2-ish years, which would, by that point, I would assume Cam Jordan's retired, and I don't think they're going to give Chase Young another contract after this contract. I think either Kennard or Stewart makes a ton of sense. I lean Kennard. I think he's an athletic beast, and I think he could develop into a really special player with the Saints.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I didn't have it on my needs, but I'm looking at the board, and I'm like, dude, I would not hate taking Elijah Arroyo either. I know they re-signed Jawan Johnson. They have Foster Moreau as well, Taysom Hill, but Elijah Arroyo, I love that guy. So let's go Kyle Kennard, though.
Yeah. I like Arroyo, but I feel like for the Saints at this point, he kind of tight end would be a luxury good. I know they're two-way guys, but I'd hesitate.
Browns going Torrey Horton, Gunnar Helm to the Chiefs, Xavier Restrepo to the Eagles. Oh, that's fire. Tez Johnson to the Vikes. Jonas Sanker to the Dolphins. Omar Norman Lott to the Giants. 49ers going Quincy Riley. Rams going Demetrius Knight Jr. And Billy Bowman, the Colts. Wow, Elijah Arroyo did not get. All right, so the Bears, we got Ashton Genty at number 10, Steele. We drafted Malachi Starks, moving back up into the first, 29th. Darius Alexander, we moved back twice to get to 51. Picked up a 4th rounder from Houston next year and a couple day 3 picks as well. So, yeah, that's what we got for Chicago. The Saints, I love it. I absolutely love the Saints. Armand Membu getting him at 9, Ben Morrison at 40, Jack Besh at 71, Kyle Kennard at 93. I probably would have said we can get better players than Besh and Kennard at those 2 picks. But again, they filled needs, and I am more of a need filler than a best player available kind of guy, especially when it comes to your team in the top 10. You have a lot of needs. So,
yeah, and this is the thing I always say about once you get past round 2, best player available definitely becomes more subjective because unless a guy like supremely drops, like a first round pick drops to early 3rd, it's hard to look at rankings and be like, oh, this guy dropped 10 spots, but it's like, well, he plays safety, and teams that would want a safety have already picked like Malachi Starks and whoever the safety is from Minnesota. So it's like, okay, like other teams probably aren't gunning for him at this point. So it's hard to say BPA when you're like past pick 70 and you're like, okay, well, who's the 70th best person in this draft?
Yeah. All righty. Yeah, so that is the Saints and the Bears. I haven't seen any other stuff. What did Rap Sheet say? This is another one to watch. What did he say? Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart both visiting the Browns today.
Oh.
We saw the Browns take Jalen Milroe at the top of the 2nd round. So in our mock draft. So that's popular spot. Him or Dart to Cleveland, and one of the other 2, or the other one to the Giants. It's been pretty chalky, I think, for most of our mocks that we've done. We'll see though. We have them coming up soon, but next Monday we'll be back to Monday next week. Hopefully, I hopefully won't have any schedule changes, but next time we're on this show, hopefully on Monday, we'll get you all your UFL Week 3 recaps, and then we'll continue mock draft series. Jags Raiders. We are on the Jets and the Panthers on Friday this week, so I'm excited to see what my Panthers can get in our mock. Will Johnson, please. Or edge rush. Anyways, don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at FAA.podcast. We will see y'all back on Friday.